What's up, guys? Destiny 2 is broken yet again, and the exotic glaive Winterbite is more broken than you might be thinking. You probably have seen the build with Syntheseps and the melee damage, but there's a glitch with the ball damage, as you see on screen right now, making it do basically infinite DPS and almost insta-killing bosses when it procs whatever glitch is going on. And this is very easy to do. It works almost 100% of the time. It does seem to happen kind of randomly, but when it happens, I mean, it literally will almost insta-kill a boss. And this isn't like a 1 out of 10 thing that happened. Almost every single time we took this thing up to a boss fight, it happened at least once in the fight, if not multiple times, as you see in these clips. So we don't know exactly what is going on. It seemed to work almost all the time, but we couldn't pinpoint what was causing it. Our leading theory was just multiple of them hitting at the same time, causing like infinite shatters or something like that. We're not sure, but it is absolutely broken and will delete any boss in the game. And later on in the video, I'll be doing DPS breakdowns of the weapon normally, and the numbers definitely don't support what is being shown on screen right now, not even remotely close. This is like 500,000 plus DPS at times when whatever glitch is working. So I'm going to let a few more of our boss kills we recorded play out, then I'll jump into my normal review of this weapon. Bro. Oh my.
Hello.
Dude, I don't know what's going on, but when it hits, it hits.
Yeah.
I think it's like all the shatters at once, because when it slowed down there, we weren't hitting like that.
Oh, there it goes.
Ooh, it's cooking. Where's it going? Oh, the cook!
I don't think it's cooking.
Oh,
No, it'd be cooking at times,
Cooks.
man.
No, it's not literally cooking.
Nah. Nah.
Okay, it's definitely our theory.
Yeah.
Imagine if we act.
So the Winterbite is Destiny 2's first heavy glaive, and it is really cool and good. So looking at the perks on this weapon, the main perk, Big Frigid Glaive, fires a large ball of energy that locks onto the nearby targets and freezes them. Then the secondary perk, Weighted Edge, this weapon's melee attacks deal increased damage and slow targets when loaded with ammo. So first, looking at the ball portion of this weapon, it's going to move extremely slow, and as it gets close to enemies, it will freeze them, and when you direct impact a target, it'll do a decent chunk of damage and shatter them. So not too bad. Just based on the eye test, it's pretty good damage, maybe not quite that of a rocket. But this allows you to do some pretty cool things. If you shoot the ball above a bunch of enemies as it goes through, as you see, kind of like shoots off, like, I guess icicles maybe is what I would want to describe them as, but it will freeze a bunch of things, and it is pretty cool and really good utility. And looking at the DPS of these balls, so it's going to be kind of like the Deathbringer in a way. Depending on how close you are to the boss, the damage might be delayed from after you shoot it, but once you're done shooting the weapon, you can obviously go melee, you can go shoot a different weapon, so it's not downtime, right? So I'm going to consider the DPS of just the time you're firing the weapon. After that, you could be doing damage with someone else, and I hope that makes a little bit of sense, but the 2 mag was 7.5 seconds, the ball damage on Carl was 77,000, 1 mag took exactly 3 seconds, which means the DPS was its damage, and the 2 mag dropped to 61.8, which those numbers are good. They're a little bit lower than Cataclysmic, and they're definitely lower than Rockets plus G-Horn. And this weapon normally holds 9 balls with double reserves. It goes up to 15, adding a third reserve does nothing. So the total damage output of this weapon is alright. At base reserves, it's roughly 700k. Then with the full reserves, 1.15 million, which is pretty good. So overall, the ball is just kind of like a slightly worse rocket, but with added utility of the freezing. Now moving on to the melee part of this glaive, without ammo in your mag, the melee will hit for this 13,000 number on Carl, but if you have ammo loaded in the mag, as long as you have 1, the melee will now hit for 20,000, which is going to be a 50% increase, and it will slow the target, which means after 3 attacks, they will freeze, and the 4th one will shatter and do a lot more damage. And I found when you're rapidly hitting targets, and this depends on how many people are in the fire team, Each enemy has like a cooldown on how often they can freeze. When you're doing it solo, it roughly is once every 6 hits you will get the shatter damage. So looking at that combo of 6 hits, it's going to be 2.6 seconds. You can also jump swing, which at times can be faster, but as you see, it was actually slower in that instance. So DPS of the melee is 67,000, which is pretty similar to the range that the ball was, but obviously the melee has infinite ammo, so that is actually really good. And you compare this with a few melee buffs in the game, the best of which is definitely Synthoceps on Titan. This role I'm using is being sold from Xur, so definitely get that if you don't have it. And what this will do is be a 3x melee increase as long as you're surrounded, and this buff kind of lingers for quite a while, so it's pretty easy to get. And yeah, with that, this thing is doing a lot of damage. The DPS is 176,000, which is way higher than most weapons in the game, and definitely really strong. And I tested a bunch of the different perks in the game that say increase melee damage or do this if melee kill, and none of them seem to work with the glaive melees outside of really Synthoceps and I think Winter Guile and things like that. So really, if you're making a build for boss fights, you really just would want a well or maybe a bubble right on top of the boss, and you'd be good to go and leave things nearby to proc the Synthoceps. But if you're looking for like an accurate build, all you really need is Void with Devour, allowing you to just go straight into the battle and constantly get health back on every final blow and survive, you know, right in the face of everything. And all you really need is a way to make the initial orb, so something like Firepower or a siphon matching one of your weapons. The Stasis Siphon did not seem to work with the Glaive Melee. Maybe it does with the ball. If you want to shoot a ball to create the initial orb, then go in with Devour, you can do that too. And yeah, that is basically it for this glaive. I think this thing is really cool. I foresee the Synthoceps buffing the melee damage being disabled / fixed in the long run, because it is absolutely crazy. There's obviously the downside that for it to work on a boss, you have to be one surrounded and right on top of them, but with things like well in the game, and the fact that the Synthoceps kind of linger for a decent amount of time, I don't think it's that unrealistic to use for most boss fights in the game, so I can see that being fixed. Then for the ball glitch, whatever's going on in the opening clips where it's just absolutely deleting bosses, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure if it's like an FPS bug, a server bug, I'm not sure, but yeah, it is absolutely broken. But even without those two things, I still think this glaive is pretty solid. The DPS maybe is not quite as high as like some of the top options in the game, but it is pretty good, and with the melee having infinite ammo obviously, I think it's really a solid pick for your heavy slot. Anyways, let me know what you think about it down below. The rest of the video will just be some gameplay from the Battleground playlist. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.